Hello everyone, and welcome to Arcane Crime, an urban fantasy world-building project. I'm your host, Peter Christensen. We're going to be doing something a little different today. I'm doing my first collaboration video with Winter, another world-building channel, and we put together a fun concept for an Aztec sci-fi project. This video is an introduction to the world's creation myth. If you're new to the channel, I only ask that before you hit that like and subscribe button, please allow me a chance to earn that from you. Alright, let's dive in. The year is 3076 post-cataclysmum. I will not recount more than necessary of the earth-altering event that began our calendar. During that time of great upheavals, nuclear devastation, and mass extinctions wounded the Earth almost beyond repair. The lands north of the Tropic of Cancer and south of the Tropic of Capricorn became uninhabitable, and mankind tread the razor-thin edge between survival and extinction. During those years of devastation, access to fossil fuels dwindled to near non-existence, and solar became our dominant energy source. After all, what other energy source was left to those primitives? In New Aztlan, a nation once called Mexico, a solar corporation called Ometeotl Industries led these efforts to restore humanity to its former glory. These early years were known as the Restoration, when that secretive organization brought back advanced technology and energy resources to mankind. We know little of these years due to countless retellings of the events. Those closest to what occurred are no longer able to speak, and during their lifetimes exhibited a divine modesty and destroyed all reputable historical records. There are, however, some common elements in each version of the tale. The two men who led Ometeotl Industries, the strong bond between them that dissolved into disaster, the genius of their inventions, the loss of their humanity. In some versions of the tale they are brothers, in others they were close friends. Another tale abominably insinuates that they were always enemies from the beginning. More than this, they were created by a vengeful god to smite humanity into extinction for their crimes against existence. The tales, in reality, are infinite. In their infinite variability, these two individuals have been called brilliant scientists, businessmen who took credit for their scientists' work, charlatans who tricked the world into thinking them intelligent and benevolent. There is one conjecture, spoken from the mouths of masked heresiarchs, to the effect that the two men never existed and never will. Another conjecture, no less vile, claims that they were gods. Strangely, current historians have come to no agreement on whether these two men even existed, yet none among them dispute their names. The first, whether he once breathed or had never been born, nevertheless claimed the moniker Miguel Quetzalcoatl. The second, his phantom twin, endured the sobriquet Javier Tezcatlipoca. The version of events that I recount now will depict them as scientists. I myself am a man of science, and thus understand that any other claims that they were more or less than this is improbable considering the current state of affairs. Does Tezcatlipoca himself not still live among us after all? Can one honestly claim that this smoking mirror was not once a man? That his history, whatever it may be, does not in fact exist? But I get ahead of myself. The tale, as honest as I've been able to garner, must be told. As I have already claimed, both men were scientists, united by the shared goal of saving humanity. It is my belief that they feared humanity's extinction, and shared the opinion that the only viable solution was to accelerate natural evolution. Humanity's environment was rapidly changing, and the natural processes of adapting simply could not keep up. Quetzalcoatl believed in the importance of continual adaptability, a reflexive survival response that changed the subject into whatever was best suited to its new environment. Tezcatlipoca's philosophy drew him in a different direction. He believed that humanity was a god in embryo, a pre-evolvement to ultimate perfection. If he could artificially construct the creature humanity was already destined to evolve into, he could save humanity from adapting too slowly. Where Quetzalcoatl sought harmony, Tezcatlipoca sought perfection. However, with such ambitious goals, neither scientist could find the right test subjects for their experiments. Ultimately, they chose to be their own guinea pigs. They spent a period of months in profound isolation from each other and the world, completing their work in secret. When they finally emerged from their laboratories, neither man was fully human anymore. Quetzalcoatl's change was not obvious at first. He could still imitate the image of humanity. But with symbiotic technology, he had spliced a machine into his genes, wired directly into his bone marrow. This machine responded to thought, to intention, to will. Its ability to transform him into whatever was needed for him to survive. If assaulted by a jaguar, he could take the form of a bird and fly away. If faced with no food, he could change himself to an alligator, making him capable of going a year without need of nourishment. Whatever the environment asked of him, he could provide. He had given his mind deeper abilities still. He found chemical compounds that enhanced his intelligence and creativity, giving him exceptional reflexes and further developing his genius and invention. He constructed crafts capable of deep space travel and cryo chambers that allowed humans humans to hibernate for millennia. His most iconic invention was his first spacecraft, the Flying Serpent, which he often left coiled around the Ometeotl headquarters, a building styled after the ancient Mexican pyramids. Tezcatlipoca's transformation was more profound and visible. In his pursuit of the perfect human form, his body emerged with an experimental obsidian-like substance that formed a carapace around him. His limbs elongated into sharp points, his face obscured behind a mask of the same dark material. A long, segmented tail extended from his spine, and his hands, by touch alone, could pair with a staff-like terraforming tool. This instrument, through subliminal sound waves, could manipulate the atomic structure of the surrounding matter, allowing Tezcatlipoca to conjure food, water, and other materials from an otherwise desolate environment. For a time after their transformations, they worked in tandem, their complementary abilities accelerating Ometeotl's research. They created new materials that could heal themselves, new solar panels, and water combustors that could power cities with zero pollution. Their work and their transformations, while not making them truly immortal, extended their life expectancy by thousands of years. But as the obsidian shell grew thicker around Tezcatlipoca's form, so too did the distance between his heart and his humanity. He began to see himself as superior to unmodified humans, his enhanced mind calculating their inefficiencies, their emotional inconsistencies. Where once he had sought to help humanity evolve, he now contemplated controlling its evolution. In the depths of Ometeotl's most secure laboratory, Tezcatlipoca secretly developed technologies that could influence human thought, subtle manipulations that would bend others to his vision of perfect order. When Quetzalcoatl discovered these experiments, the confrontation that followed shook the foundations of their friendship and of Ometeotl itself. Quetzalcoatl pleaded with his friend to remember their original purpose, to elevate humanity, not to enslave it. Tezcatlipoca, his voice now resonating with strange harmonics through his obsidian shell, argued that true elevation required guidance, that humans left to their own devices would only repeat the mistakes that had nearly destroyed Earth once before. Their argument escalated into conflict, their enhanced abilities clashing in a battle that tore through Ometeotl's laboratories. Quetzalcoatl shifted between forms, man to eagle to jaguar, evading Tezcatlipoca's attempts to control him. Tezcatlipoca manipulated the very matter around them, creating barriers, weapons, traps from the substance of the laboratory itself. In the end, Tezcatlipoca unveiled his ultimate weapon, a device specifically calibrated to Quetzalcoatl's unique genetic structure. The pain it inflicted was beyond description, disrupting Quetzalcoatl's ability to control his transformation, sending waves of agony through his enhanced nervous system. Through eyes clouded with pain, Quetzalcoatl saw no recognition in the obsidian face that observed his suffering, no remnant of the friend he had once known. With the last of his strength, Quetzalcoatl was just barely able to escape to his serpent ship that waited outside. The vessel, an extension of his consciousness, activated at his arrival, its systems coming online as it prepared for departure. From orbit, Quetzalcoatl looked down upon the earth, upon the gleaming spire of Ometeotl headquarters. He knew he could not defeat Tezcatlipoca in his current state. The weapon had damaged him too severely, and Tezcatlipoca's powers grew stronger each day as the obsidian shell further integrated into his nervous system. And so, Quetzalcoatl made the decision to leave Earth, to seek healing among the stars, to find wisdom in distant worlds that might one day allow him to return and confront what his friend had become. No record of him has been made since he turned his ship, the Feathered Serpent, toward the cosmos. On Earth, Tezcatlipoca watched the departure of the serpent ship, its form diminishing to a point of light among countless others in the night sky. He felt no triumph in this victory, only a cold certainty that he was right, that Quetzalcoatl would one day understand the necessity of his actions. Until then, he would continue his work, guiding humanity toward his vision of perfection. In the years that passed, Tezcatlipoca ushered in an era marked by blood and efficiency. He demanded that we of New Aztlan sacrifice the best among us to serve as guinea pigs to his experiments. Through their sacrifice, Tezcatlipoca constructed a great pyramid of obsidian and solar glass, a monument to his vision and a conduit for his control, and created obsidian tech devices to subtly influence the population to obey his every whim. From its apex, he observes his domain, his enhanced senses perceiving the patterns of human activity across the city, across the continent, across the world. I can only share this information because Tezcatlipoca has ordered me to the task. You see, I am numbered among his high priests, a class of beings I assure you are men of perfect science. We in fact feel such repulsion to falsehood that we are incapable of telling a single lie. Though His Eminence's advancements have been great, and the people of New Aztlan thrive under his rule, many of them are not so strongly influenced by his technology that they condone his brutal, yet fully necessary methods. A secret cult grows slowly amid our ranks, sweeping through our communities. This disgusting sect wishes, even prays, for the return of the benevolent Quetzalcoatl. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel, and let me know if you're interested in hearing more about New Aztlan. I'll see you on the next episode of Arcane Crime.